Hello and welcome back to Britain's Hidden History for another episode of Star Map Discovery. We are joined again by Steve Willetts, who has built upon the discovery of a Babylonian star map in South Wales made by Wilson and Blackett via the principles of as above, so below. This is our fourth episode with Steve, and it's been a series of revelations so far, with important implications for understanding the ever-unfolding migration stories of Britain. We hope you enjoy.
So today is slightly different to the other presentations that I've given. This one's going to be an overview of the whole of the star map. So there's going to be just a brief touching on each constellation, show them where they are, and then we slowly build up a map of where the constellations are. I'm going to be pointing out 30 plus stars. So by the end of it, you'll have the full star map where it is with some detail of each constellation. That's the idea. And then at the end, I'm going to try and overlay where the stars are on the ground and then put a star map over the top and show you the accuracy then of how close they match.
Cool.
So basically that's the idea for, I don't know if it'll be done in 1 or 2 goes.
However long it takes.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping it's going to be 2 goes because the last part is quite tricky.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you just take it up to where you want today, Steve.
Yeah.
And
We'll just go as far as we can. And
yeah.
Okay. And so what I put on you now, just to make sure everybody is aware that I didn't discover any of this. It's Wilson and Blackett discovered it. It's in the book, The Discovery of the Ark of the Covenant. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that, and none of the ideas I'm putting forward, even though the work's my own, and I've discovered a lot of things myself, the ideas behind that are all Wilson and Blackett. So I'm not going anywhere off what they have shown. I'm just using their work and then just expanding it then, if that makes sense. And on the screen now, we have just 2 quotes from the discovery of the Ark, just to show that I've got these ideas from Wilson and Blackett themselves. So the first one basically says, as it has been endeavoured to show, there are very good grounds for claiming that the 4 branches of the Mabinogi are the preserved ancient British versions of the creation, as was remembered from our early Chaldean origins. And these records recorded on the 7 tablets of creation. In Babylon, it's the Enuma Elish. I think it means when on high. So when I say this is recorded in a certain part, it won't be today, but in the next one, that I'm using the Enuma Elish. I mean, I got that idea from Wilson and Blackett, and I just see if I could put that onto the landscape and try and work out what it's trying to say. And then when I mentioned Gilgamesh, the Epic of Gilgamesh, they've also stated our interest in these Gilgamesh poems is simply that the adventures of the hero bear an uncanny resemblance to the British Mabinogi tale of Owen and the Countess of the Fountain. So they've already made the connections. And then if you look at Wilson and Blackett's work, like for example, The Dream of Rhonabwy, they've traced that through the landscape. So my idea was, well, if they can trace that through the landscape, can you trace anything else using the same ideas then? And basically, I've gone behind them, tried to follow them. So basically what I tried to do is they got nowhere near in completing the star map. So one day, because I do a lot of hiking, and it just happens I live quite near the centre of this star map, I thought, well, once I'm out and about, I'll see if I can work it out myself and finish it for him. And basically, that was the idea.
Yeah.
I believe now is up for the viewer to decide that now I've completed the star map as such. What I've done, as far as I'm concerned, is prove I'm correct. I don't have any doubt there is a star map there now.
Great.
So as far as I'm concerned, Wilson and Blackett were right. Yes, they might have got some details wrong, but the overarching idea is spot on as far as I'm concerned.
we mentioned in one of the previous ones, I've said before that book is absolutely jam-packed full of stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm sure several points in it, different parts, whether they're talking about the star map or they're talking about studying certain British stories for certain Middle Eastern ideas, things like that.
Yeah.
They say someone needs to look at this, but we just
Yeah.
don't have the time.
Yes.
Here it is, and then
Yeah.
move on to this other thing, which is what we're actually investigating at the
Yeah.
moment.
So you could say them, I'm taking the next step
Yes.
by trying to map it all out.
Yeah.
And then try and link these stories with more detail. But then there'll be somebody who will need to come behind me then. Once you've got that better framework then, and some pointers to go along, then you need somebody else to go behind me then and really, really go into it.
Yeah, hammer out the details.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Even though I've got an enormous amount of details.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm almost certain at some point I would have made a wrong assumption somewhere. I mean, that's a given. But the overarching idea, I'd be giving you so much information over the next one and the next one and the next one that is very, very difficult then, as far as I'm concerned, to say, no, there's nothing there.
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome.
But it will need people to come behind me and go, right, then I'm going to really look into that story in the Mabinogi and see what they can. I mean, Wilson and Black had done a lot on the Mabinogi.
Yeah, there's loads in that book in particular.
Yeah, I'm still trying to work out what they mean half the time. It's like, oh, right, fair enough. And then you find something, you go, oh, right, that could be what they mean.
I know. And also one sentence can lead you on such a rabbit hole with ideas that it takes you days to come back to where you were in the book.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I got Wilson and Alan Wilson's brain for starters.
Tell me about it.
But the adding in this whole other dimension of astrological terms is instantly made sense to me, because I remember reading the Mabinogi for the first time, and there's a lot of mention on we'll meet in a day and a year, and there's that sort of thing going on. You think that's very odd. What's that about? But then this helps it make sense and unfold the larger picture. So this is really exciting stuff. So
right then, if I'll just leave up this on the screen for a second.
Yeah.
I just got 2 pages of. I don't think I've added every book I've used, but these are the main ones that I've used doing this. So it's this one, and then is that one. Some of it is only I just got an idea from, and it's not really much more use than an idea then for what I'm doing. But yeah, so I just leave them on for a second. I mean, I'm assuming, well, I know I would anyway. If people are watching this, I'd be screen dumping them anyway. So
yeah.
Well, you'd have a little booklet of.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, I know I would do it.
Absolutely, I love going through things like that. You never know what you might find.
Yeah. Right. So this is the area we're talking about. You can see Cardiff and Newport. Oh, hang on. Come on, pen. Right, Cardiff, Newport there. So this is South East Wales.
Right, Steve, before you start drawing, just want to make sure.
Yeah.
You're going to keep it clean this time. If anyone doesn't know, Steve has just got all this star map stuff together so he can come on our show and draw willies, I think. But we're going to avoid it this week, hopefully.
I mean, am I ever going to live that down?
We're going to get YouTube strikes, It's going
to... right then. Well, anyway, on that note, I'll see you next time.
Right, okay.
So basically, the center of the ecliptic, this is just crude now, is around this area. The ecliptic then would be sort of there, and then the zodiac. I mean, this is really, really rough. Would be either side.
Yep.
So this is the area. that we sort of looking at. Get rid of that last bit. And in that center, you can probably see it on this map. That central part is lower than the surrounding mountains.
Yeah.
And then if you look at, I mean, it seems to be an ideal place. It even looks circular. You got the mountains coming here, the river's going up, the mountain going that way, and then they coming back down that way.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's accidental or not, I don't think we'll ever know. Like, but basically that's the area that we're looking at. So the first one, we go in straight to the center. We go into the Wagon of Heaven. So Ursa Minor, basically. And this is one of those Wilson and Blackhead terms that I missed the first time I read, and the second time, and probably 3 or 4 times after. And it's only after I sort of managed to work it up myself that I read this, and I thought, oh, right, if I had read it properly, I would have.
Yeah.
So it's got, this is in the Ark of the Covenant. So it's got in the Mabinogi of Paul, the Lord of David. They basically associate the pole star or Polaris as Pensloin on Booyah. Now, Pensloin, it can mean loin, but there's another association with that, which I won't go into today because I'll be doing that when we go into this Mabinogi of Paul. So I'll go into that more detail. But I found Pensloin, and this is right in the middle.
Mm.
So on the bottom map there, you can see Pensloin.
Okay,
there.
yeah.
And then, can you see that clear? I'm not sure if they're too small.
I mean, it's pretty small, but I can see it. I hope the people at home can. But, you can always pause it and get right up close to your TV.
Yeah. This is in Pontefraith, in an area called the Pensloin, and just below the line is an earthwork.
All right.
So it's like it's a square earthwork.
All right.
There's a road going through the bottom end of it, but it's still there today, and there's all houses built around it, but it's still there. And that's where I believe that Polaris is.
Right, okay.
So you've got this location now in the Pensloin, where Wilson and Blackhead as well associate the pole star with Pensloin on Booyah. And it fits when you add it all in. Now, I don't know if on mine, your screen is covering, I don't know if it's...
Oh, no, I can see...
you can see the mount, can you, on the top right?
Oh, yeah, so we've got a LiDAR image there. I see. Okay, yeah,
so
it's my face in the way.
That's it, yeah. That LiDAR image is where the star Kochab would be, which was the pole star at some point. But it was never in the center. It was always offset, but it was the nearest bright star to where the pole would have been. Okay. So that's just a random mound in the field. It's not marked as anything. The field name doesn't really reveal anything as such. But it's in the right location.
Is there a mound name on the old map there, a Tuan?
No, nothing at all. Oh, that one, that's something in the middle a minute. But this top one.
The top one, yeah, of course.
The top one with the, that one is. So there is nothing that gives it away as such, except for the fact it's in the right location and there's a mound there. So I believe it is Kochab because it's in the right place, basically. But there's, like I said, I can't confirm it. So in the next sentence down, it's got Gur and in Ursa Major, some early commentators located the fold, an ancient stellar figure of the Arabs. So in Ursa Minor and Ursa Major, the ancient Arabs, this is from Richard Hinckley Allen's The Stars and Their Law. So they got this constellation as the fold because a lot of the stars were named after animals, like Cockab and a couple of the others. They were like known as the dimmer of the calf and the brighter of the two calves, etc. But right in between the bottom one, which is Polaris and Cockab, you have a Tauern there, which is Tauern of Ald, which is the Tauern of the fold. So you've now got the two stars, and since this constellation is associated with the fold, you now have a Tauern in the middle called the fold.
Fold. So fold meaning like an animal pen.
An animal pen, yeah.
Yeah, like a sheepfold or something like that.
Like that's right, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Now, the other two quotes, I put these, and these are from Hungarian's Mullapin or Mullapin. Basically, that sets out, say, they even describe how to use this text. You say, like, if your chest is facing south in the middle of the sky, X is there, and another constellation is rising. Mm-hmm. So they tell you that if you look in a certain direction, at a certain time, in the middle of the sky, then you know that another constellation is rising. So they've worked out which constellation is which then, in a way.
Okay.
Now, the second quote then is got the star which stands in its knot, the heir of the sublime temple, the first ranking of Anu, which is Polaris. This is what they're referring to. But what I find is interesting, and there's no proof of this, is got the heir of the sublime temple, suggesting that it's going to become the pole star then at some future date.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like I said, there's no evidence. This would be conjecture. So if you're saying it's the air and the sublime temple is the stars, or Arthur's court is the stars, then this could indicate that they knew of precession.
Because they're suggesting that at some point
it
will be the pole star, yeah.
And this Mullapin, I think it's about the 8th century BCE is the earliest copy they have, whereas Hipparchus, who is generally accredited of working a precession, I think he was the 2nd century BCE. So this is a while before him. So suggestive of other people have suggested that the ancients knew a precession before.
Yes, yeah.
Before then. But I put on to say, well, look, maybe that's what this is indicating.
Interesting.
So, like I said, this is just going to be a brief overview. So we're not going to go into any more detail, really, of any constellation and what I'm showing you now.
Okay.
Because I think it's about 40 slides, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot to go through.
All right.
So the next one, which is the Wagon or Ursa Major, and I'm going to show Cor Caroli as well. So Alkaid, the hitch joke, which is that circle there. And then we got, if you look at the map underneath, it's marked as a tumulus. Mm-hmm. It's marked as a Canon modern day maps, but it's originally marked as a tumulus. And this is from the Welsh tithe maps. Now, that circle there, which is the nearest field to this hitch joke, on top of the mountains, the fields were never named. They didn't belong to anybody as common land. So just below it, we have a field called Kai Corda. Now, it could be possibly from cordin, or the English word cord, which means string or small rope. And string or rope is twisted. That's what gives it its strength. So the hitch joke, and if you look at the next quote down, it's got the earliest reference to the ropes occurs in the early dynastic hymn, basically which mentions the twisted rope to which heaven is secured. So this idea of twisted rope, it runs through the whole star map in a way, or certain sections of it. So now we got that Alkaid, and just below it you got a field name suggesting the hitch joke right next to each other. So you find a lot of this where you get the name next to it. Well, even though the cane itself doesn't have a name, something around it will indicate what that is. So the next star then is Alios, that I'm shown by you, which is known as the ewe, or female sheep. Now, right on target, that is in a field called Cai Garbon, whereas gar means leg, shank, or thigh, and bon means rump, tail, or hindmost part. Now, if you look at, that could be indicating part of a sheep, but then if you look at the Egyptian Denver zodiac, this constellation is shown as like a shank of a leg.
Yeah, I think I've seen that. Yeah.
So you now got this year, Cai Garbon, and the constellation is shown as like a sheep's leg or a cow's leg. I'm not sure what animal it is. Right on target for the year as well.
So just where the Dendera zodiac has basically like a back leg shank.
Yeah.
You've got a field name next to a tumulus, which is called the leg shank. Rump, tail, hindmost part.
With that Cai Garbon there's no tumulus here as such, but there are a lot. The whole area is littered with large stones, and so there might have been something there. But in that
So
it's not a tumulus, but there may have been something there before.
Yes,
because there is something on the ground. But
and fantastic, yeah.
So the other thing with the wagon, the wagon is also associated with Ishtar. Now, Ishtar was married to a shepherd deity called Damutsi, or Tamuts, or Damuts, or Damutsi, Tamutsi, the shepherd deity. Now, if you take Al-Qaeda and the one left-hand side of Ursa Major, it forms like a bow shape. And Ishtar is associated with a bow, and sometimes she's even shown with like a staff with a curve on the top, which could be the crescent moon, but it may even be these stars. Now, so that would go across here very roughly. And then up here, you go, if something is married to something, it means it's close to it. Mutsi and Ishtar are married to each other. I'm saying that's suggesting that the two things are close to each other. Now, Damutsi is a shepherd deity, and Corcaroli, which is Pencan Beguile, where Beguile means shepherd.
We had a bit of an interruption, Steve. I've got most of that, but just run through about the marriage part again. Right.
So Ishtar and Damutsi were married.
Yeah.
So if somebody's married, in these terms, it means they're together or close together.
Okay, I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, associated with each other.
Yeah.
So if this curve, which I put here,
is Ishtar. Yeah.
Then right next to it is Pencal Beguile, which is Corcaroli, and Beguile meaning shepherd. So you got Ishtar here, and when we do one of the other president, Ishtar and the lion, I'll show a bit more about how it's related. But for the moment, Pencal Beguile would be the shepherd deity, and Beguile means shepherd, and then this curve is Ishtar, and she's shown in one image of holding the ropes of heaven, but like a leash around the lion. So where Ishtar is here, and you go to the west, is where the constellation of Leo is. So she's holding Leo the lion.
Right, cool.
If I get rid of those. Hopefully this is making sense at the moment.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
like I said, I'm not going into any massive detail at the moment. Right, so I've indicated 3 canes here. So on the right-hand side, we've got a snippet of Ursa Major. So this star here, did that come out on the screen then?
Yeah, just see around Leo Minor there.
That's it, yeah?
Yeah.
Then you got the 2 front of the back foot. Then
you want to do it with a different colour, just for anyone watching at home who might not see it a bit so clearly.
Try it again. So you got this one here.
Yeah,
great.
These 2 here, and that one there.
Yeah.
And if you look, they form, it's an acute angle which is smaller than 90.
Yep.
Yeah, and then if you look
at it, I can see it, yeah.
Yeah, so that's an acute angle as well, smaller than 90.
Oh, and you've got a double cairn down there, have you?
And you've got a double 2 cairns down there with those 2 stars there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's great.
So, yeah, that's just these 3 stars, or 4 stars, will be added to the final map as well. So you can see that they're not just cairns that I just randomly picked out. Is where, when you overlay the map, this is where those stars would be.
Fantastic.
Right, so every now and again I'll pause and show you those constellations on the map, and then we just build the map up there.
Cool.
So Enlil, Marduk, or Marduk, also known as Shupa or Bootes. This is the constellation Bootes, where this would be. I'm going to, even though Enlil is the ploughman as such, I'm putting this as Marduk because when we go on to the next one, it fits more with him than Enlil. So it may have been updated at some point, or...
Oh, interesting. Marduk being a later epithet of...
in the Enuma Elish, basically, the gods were going to fight Tiamat, and there's going to be this almighty battle. Nobody could win. So then Marduk stepped forward, defeats them all, and then he became the prominent god and overtook Enlil. So he took over the role of him.
Yeah.
So on you we got among its Arabian derivatives, and this is for Bootes, sorry. Arcturus, the main star Arcturus. Among its Arabian derivatives are Nekka, often considered as Al-Naka, or the digger, or Terra. And I've got these are from Richard Hinckley Allen. The idea of the ox-driving ploughman or herdsman, as applied to the constellation, is Euphratean in character. So this constellation has got this association with a celestial ploughman, and or we can just plough in. So in ancient Babylon, the stars of Boote were known as Shupa. They were apparently depicted as a god Enlil, who was leader of the Babylonian pantheon and special patron of farmers. Now, where the star Arcturus is, it's all built on the Rumney ironworks and what have you. So if there was anything, it's trashed, it's gone. Back in the day. But if you look at the little map underneath here of Tywin Carno, where Carno means to dig up, to churn up. And this star, or this constellation, was known as the digger or Terra.
Right.
And the celestial ploughman. So we now got another name which matches what this constellation is. As I was going through all these as well, I'm also trying to find the Welsh equivalent, because there are only a certain number of constellations that are in Welsh.
Yeah.
But there is this figure called Haughton who introduced ploughing. Now, I don't know if that was a real person or if it was the Welsh equivalent of Enlil then.
So he's a really fascinating character. It's sort of one of these people
Yeah.
get all antsy about YOLO fictions, don't they?
Yes.
But there is definitely suggestions and references in much older writings than YOLO. And also it's like is it like Dionysus who went around planting all the grapevines and and like Johnny Appleseed or something, a story like that, this idea. But no, seriously, like an idea of this sort of almost deity that goes around spreading agriculture in that way is definitely a very old story.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
If we change the color back a minute. And what is interesting, and if you look at this mountain here, Marduk, when he fights Tiamat, he's got the cosmic thunderbolt. Now, this mountain here is Mynydd Bedwellty, which was originally spelt with an M, which was Mynydd Bedmelsti. No Welsh, but Melst. And Melst means thunderbolt, lightning, thunderbolt. So you got, bed can be translated as, in several different ways, as the old meaning could be the abode of the being with a thunderbolt.
Okay.
So if you look at that, then this section here would then be his neck, and then this up here would be his head.
Okay, yeah, because he's upside down, is that right?
He's upside down, yeah. So you've then got the figure coming down the whole of this mountain, even though the constellation is around this area. There's also, which I haven't got on here, around this area here, there's a place called Tywyn Ararian, or the Tywyn of silver or money, which implies abundance. And one of the stars there, or associated with this booties, is the Star of Abundance.
You'd expect that with a god who spreads agriculture as well. The idea of abundance and wealth and
And when the next presentation is going to be on Marduk, and I'll try and go through this landscape and the image, the traditional, or the normal image people see of Marduk, and try and work out what they're trying to say, because they may be trying to say two things at the same time.
Yeah.
Possibly.
At least.
Yeah.
There might be a spiritual element to it as well as a historical element then. So, to the east then of that way then would be Marduk, Enlil.
Yep.
So on this side now, on this area, is what's known as the standing gods, who are also known as the circle, and the Welsh equivalent would be Caer Arianrhod, and this the stars of Corona Borealis.
Yes.
No, I can't find anything which references the standing gods. But just below, which is here, and on this one here, you have Troedrug Gwair, where Gwair can mean grass, as in the type of grass you use for when you cut for hay, but it can also mean ring, circle, or talk. So Troed is Fort Dunrew is a steep slope, so is that village then would be called the Troedrug is at the foot of the slope of the circle then. And then up here, even though I haven't found any stars, there's one field where one of the stars is a white star, and it is a connotation of white there. But otherwise, there's nothing obvious that I found up there. But the only thing interesting really is the name. And then right in the center of the circle, you have a Domen Fawr, which Domen is a mutated form of Toman or Tumulus. So a Domen Fawr would then mean the Great Tumulus.
Yeah. Do you know what the word Tolman means, though?
Tolman, not off the top of my head, no.
It means that a hold stone, a circle stone.
Oh, right.
So there's a village in Cornwall called Tolman, and they've got a big triangular stone with a hole in it. And then there's Menontoll in Cornwall, which is the monument which has a circular stone in it.
What's the circle used for in that stone?
Sorry?
The circle in that stone, what is it used for?
They don't have a clue. They're Neolithic monuments. I mean,
right.
Menontoll, now people use it to sort of as a health, people put themselves through it to heal themselves. But
right, it's that big.
But you have to squeeze through it.
Yeah,
it's not massive, but but we can only prove that only dates back, a couple of hundred years as far as we know. I mean, but they're Neolithic, so no one knows what they mean. But essentially, it means circular. So could be some endowment maybe if it has.
Right, there is something could be interesting. Underneath this now we've got, may the standing gods of the great gate and the benevolent gods of entering stand at your right and left to assure your destiny of life. So they call it some kind of great gate. But there's also a suggestion that at that point, not on the Welsh landscape, but at that point of Corona Borealis, that if you look east and watch the sunrise, it would bring certain things into your life then.
Okay.
That's why I thought when you said there's a hole in it, is somebody going to be standing there looking through a hole at the rising sun?
Interesting. Yeah. I think they with Menontoll, it's been shifted around probably by some antiquarians at some point. And then the Tolman stone, I don't even know if they know if that's where it was originally found or if it's been moved or.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's the problem with the age of some of these monuments, isn't it?
Well, that's it. Yeah. I mean, you're trying to build up a picture with not a lot of information sometimes.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's there's the house of the Rising Sun is what they call the St. Livens dolmen as well. Have you been there, Steve? The St. Livens?
No.
And they've got it's got a circle in the on the back stone. And it's a similar kind of thing.
Really?
Yeah.
It's about this it's there for to see the rising sun at a certain point. It's just
between us, we might have cracked it then.
But that a dolmen vow is a great vantage point.
Sort of thing you'd need for making a star map.
Yeah. So now the next constellation then is, if you carry on that mountain going south, you come to the constellation of the Wolf. Now it's marked by a cane there, or what Tamlas called Tower y Bleiddiad, which means wolf or wolf-like. And it said that the wolf stands on the seed funnel of the plough then. And the seed funnel is just basically a funnel, they put the seeds in it. And as they plough it, it's like you could say an automation of it then. So that would be, you can see it up there, he's got it there. Nice. And then I've marked down here, that high point there is where the center of the ecliptic would be. Now, that is marked as Tontir Bell. Now, I'm sure there's something within that name that's trying to speak to me, but because Tir means land, Ton means earth service, and Bell is mutated from a pell or pale, which means sphere or ball. So whether they're trying to indicate here that this, because if you get, can you see that, the star map?
Yeah, sure.
Basically a planisphere. Basically, that's the sphere of the stars flattened out onto the ground. So I don't know if that name is trying to indicate this is where they measured this from.
To be fair, Steve, this seems like almost like one of the least ambiguous things you've shown us. It's the center of the ecliptic, and it's called Teaton Bell, Earth's surface. Like, I mean, are these your translations controversial?
Some of them are, yeah.
What with Ton? Is there a more traditional translation of Tontir Bell? Maybe
I haven't found one. Some of these places are just small places. Sometimes they just farm.
yeah.
Some of them are just farm names. So you got to try and.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. That one. I think that's I think that's one of the least ambiguous ones. I think that's the fact that that's in the center of the ecliptic. I mean,
and then we got this little stream coming up here. Is Nant Gurhe. Now, when you get watch place names, quite often when you join them together, for example, Penderyn is made up of two words, pen and aderyn. So the A's been dropped and becomes Penderyn.
Yeah.
So I was trying to work out what this meant. So I split into two. Gur could mean man. But if it's dropped the letter, it could mean Gort, Gwrt, which is a mutated. This is a bit more long-winded. Mutated form of court. But the second part of it, hey, I can't find any spelling, hey, Hay, which indicates anything. But there's another Welsh word, hey, He, which is pronounced the same, which can mean to sow, disseminate, spread, or disperse. So if you take the two, you could have to disseminate or spread out the court, as in the stars and the court of King Arthur.
Yeah.
As in putting.
Absolutely.
So
did we say at the beginning about the Mabinogi that Wilson and Blackett compare the Zodiac?
Oh yeah,
the
I don't think you said no, but yeah, that idea from the court of King Arthur and those are Wilson and Blackett's ideas as well. Yeah. So I it's not just something I sort of think, oh, does that what mean? Yeah. So this would be the seed funnel going that way. This year would be as such the center of the ecliptic. Now that wouldn't change. Now, I don't think they marked this out from the pole star. I think they marked everything out from the center of the ecliptic. Because that way you could then, if you got the map on a piece of paper or whatever, you could take it anywhere in the world and just plonk it down, and it doesn't matter where the pole star is because you measured it from the center.
Right, okay, yeah.
So it doesn't matter where you go. You haven't got to adapt it then to, right, we got to change it to Polaris, we got to change it to Thuban or whatever.
Oh, right, okay, right.
So that would stay stationary. This year would move around this way, circularly, so it'd be moving around. But because they've placed it there, when this was built, to me it suggests that at that time, this is where it was. The seed funnel was there, which then if you got these two lines coming up here, which would be the plough itself, where it points to, would then be where the pole star would be.
Okay, yeah, because that's a good way of finding the pole star, isn't it? Using yeah.
So if you go that way onto where the circle of the pole is as it circles around, right on target, you got I think it's a name of an old farm, or it might be an old mound, but it's Tywin Star. Near a place called Agort Honna, or Gwathana is known as today, but it would have been, originally it was spelled Agort Honna. Agort is mutated form of court, which is the court, the honourable court, and nearby you got Agort Honna Garnol, which is the centre of the honourable court.
Blimey.
And I think
wow.
At a very, very, very rough date then, I think I worked at about 1400 BC. BC. Somewhere, no, it could be slightly before, slightly after.
Yeah.
But it's around that mark.
Right, so, fascinating.
Which then would rule out the Brutus migrations, and it'd be the Albine migrations.
Yeah.
possibly within a couple of 100 years of it. Yeah,
because they wouldn't have just turned up and say, "Rob, right, let's build this today."
Oh no, you wouldn't have done it
no.
overnight, would you?
No.
Oh dear.
So I think the next slide is just putting all these on the map.
Great. Yeah, I think that will really contextualize it for.
Yeah.
One more, right. Right, so this Marduk character, I've drawn down the whole length of the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
You got the circle there.
Mm-hmm.
You got the wolf there. Ursa Minor, Ursa Major, and these are the stars I've added. That's called Caroli there. So I've added all these stars. Right, I put one in I shouldn't have yet. That's for the next slide. So if you got the wolf there and then essentially the ecliptic there, then over this way would be that towering star there. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So when we do the next couple of slides, I'll add on. I'll just add to this map, and then at the end, I've rotated the map at a different angle so it gets slightly bigger.
Okay.
I'm limited by the dimensions of this. How I can put this, I can't put it like a square screen, unfortunately.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's so we're slowly building it up, and like I said, if you then got the center of the ecliptic going that way, the ecliptic going that way, and then zodiac, you can see that then roughly like that would be the movement of the pole.
Okay, right.
Yeah. I've been to art school in the meantime, trying to learn how to draw.
Yeah.
Right, so the sitting gods. Now this is where I'm sort of going against what the Babylonians have got in a way. Right, so the sitting gods in this book, Astral Sciences of Mesopotamia, it's been worked. They've basically taken as many texts as they can and tried to fit which star they think is which and in which constellation it fits. A lot of it's still tentative because there's still a massive amount of missing information, but this is where they are. So Mu Virginis, right where Trevel Quarry is, would be where the star is. Now they've tentatively put it as part of the sitting gods. Now, the sitting gods are sort of, if you look at the Greek star map, you got Ophiuchus, you got Serpent's Cauda, which is the tail of the serpent on one side of it, and on the other side you got Serpent's Caput or Caput. So the sitting gods are basically within there, but they've identified that this Mu Virginis is part of the sitting gods. Which puts it at a strange angle, but I'm not sure it is part of the sitting gods as such. I think it'd be part of a different constellation, the Pharaoh. But on the ground, I can't find anything for the Pharaoh, but I can find stuff for a barking dog.
Okay.
So the Pharaoh on the ground suggests this barking dog of this is the Arabic names then, so it's coming through. So that Mu Virginis was known as the foot of the barking dog, and then we go into Pharaoh. I'll show another bit where I think that this barking dog,
right, okay,
really could be the Pharaoh. So where Serpent's Caput is, so I'm digressing there. So Serpent's Caput is around this area. Now the serpent's head, it's here, which there's a Tywyn Gwyn. It's a white star, and Tywyn Gwyn means a white, so you've got a white mound then. And here we've got Tywyn Canhodi, which means dog kennel or dog house. Now, this down this way, that's the foot of the dog. Down this way could be the constellation of the dog, but down this mountain is also the constellation of the sitting dog. And in between the two, you got Tywyn Canhodi, which means dog kennel, dog house.
Yeah.
Oh.
But the one matches the Babylonian, the sitting dog, and the other one doesn't.
Ah.
Which gives you a problem.
Yeah.
So one thing I'd just like to add, just for anyone who's unsure while you're looking at the Arabic names, is that I've said quite a lot of people quite a lot of people say that the Arabic traditions maintain the Egyptian and probably therefore the Euphratian traditions better than
I mean, I think it was a crossover with all of them. They all influenced each other.
Yeah, Hugh Evans would certainly argue that all the information's there in all of the names in all of the languages, basically.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you see.
Yeah.
I mean, some of it's the Arabic names, some of it's the Babylonian names. There's some Egyptian.
Yeah.
So it's to me like I don't know who influenced who.
Mm. And so what you're getting at here, are you suggesting that either you've got some sort of variation from a Babylonian star map, or are you saying that using this star map you can possibly correct the work that's been done? Or by
I wouldn't be so presumptuous.
I mean, maybe we should go on Curator's Corner, British Museum.
I mean, there are two possibilities. Well, there's more than one possibility. There's loads of possibilities. Is that the names out in Mesopotamia, Egypt, etc., they've been interchangeable. Some are retained ones, some are retained others. Mm-hmm. There's the other option that they've all come here at some point and added their own to it. I mean, that's probably a bit more long-winded. Or the other one is that it originated here, went out, and then it dispersed throughout all the languages. I mean, I couldn't... You probably can... I mean, give it somebody 10 minutes, you could probably think of maybe 4 or 5 other suggestions.
Yeah.
But basically what I'm saying that in the constellation of the Pharaoh, I can't see anything to link it to the Pharaoh, but I can see it to link it to this barking dog.
Right, I get you.
Yeah. So I mean, there's probably brighter people out there who probably who got more knowledge than me, and probably no, it's this, and they go, all right. Right then. And here we are, the sitting dog. So the sitting dog is located within the southern part of Hercules. Now, up the top of the map, I've marked it. There's a cane there, and that's where Beta Hercules is. There is no figure of Hercules in the Babylonian star map. But that would be, in Hercules, you've got a central square, which would be like his torso.
Okay.
So, and then down here, then, this would be the southern part of Hercules. So, down here, we got places called Cwm Murddog, Nant Murddog. That should be in Kevin ar Murddog. Where Murddog, where Mayor or Mur, is heart, centre, middle, and dog is a mutated form of dog.
Dog, yeah.
So you got the middle or the heart or the centre of the dog. Now, and like I said, at the bottom end, where we just looked at, is where Tywyn Canhodi is, which is the dog kennel. You've got these two dogs, and where they sort of meet, if you went down both ways, you'd have this kennel.
The kennel between them.
Yeah, so whether they both...
It's like the fold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now the dog itself is associated with, which we go on to the next slide, Gula, the she-goat. She was a goddess of healing. Probably my favorite goddess of all time. Because what they used to do, they used to brew beer, put it in front of the moon or whatever, and put some medicinal herbs in it, then drink the beer.
Oh, nice.
So if you're ever ill, just get a nice. I don't think it works for lager, but lager's available as well.
I mean, it's a good excuse for you. Just like, I'm just going to go and do some praying.
Yeah. Purely for religious purposes.
Yeah, but the dog itself was part of that healing process. And they're quite often found in the temples of healing. So you'd see these dogs there. So at the bottom, you got Craig Argyll, and then this ridge coming down here, which I got over the side. Oops, I'm moving you around then. Which is Kevin Argyll, where Argyll means to care, to watch, to guard. So you got the dog, who's part of the healing process, and then you got the other names on there indicating that he's caring or looking after or being part of the healing process.
Is it me, or can I see a lying down dog as well?
I mean, it plays tricks with your eyes, but
I mean, at the top in the north,
the mouth there, or
no, I was thinking that's like a front paw, and the head is directly above it. The back goes up here.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I see.
Like almost like more like a greyhound. I like lurchers, so
it could well be. I mean, why not name it after a landscape? But if you're naming it after the landscape, and not the stars influence it, but the landscape, the shape of it influencing the names, then there's only one conclusion you can come to.
Yeah. They designed it there.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Right, so now this is Gula, the she-goat. So you got the dog over on this mountain, and then Gula's over here. Like I said, she's associated with healing, and the dog takes part in it. But if you look at the picture to the left, the dog is by the side of her, and she's got her hands open. Well, on this mountain, you got Tywyn Gŵr, which means the length covered by the outstretched arms. Where you think it'd be. So if Vega is there, the dog's there, and you've got Tywyn Gŵr or Gŵr, which is the length by your outstretched arms, and she's shown in that position quite often with the arms
outstretched arms, yeah.
And then we got Vega, which I know where it should be. I can't find anything. And you think something so important as Vega, nothing on old maps, nothing on tide maps. I've been there. I've always been there when it's quite the ferns are up and the brack and whatever. So it's but there's a road, like a concrete road, because there's been industrialization up. There's a concrete road going through, and then the highest point is just all dirt with. So if there was something there, either I'm slightly off, or it's just gone.
Been ploughed out or something.
Well, it's on top of the mountain. I don't think they would have. They would have ploughed it.
Could be robbed out for something, for the road or something.
Yeah. But you got this big concrete road with wherever going straight through it, like so. So I don't know, unless I'm slightly out looking.
Yeah.
And if it's over here, then it's nowhere near the road. Then there's a possibility that it could still be something there.
I assume that's quite a big an area to range around it on foot, is it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, the star should be around. Whoops, that's a terrible drawing. Around that area. So, yeah, it's. I mean, like I said, I haven't found anything, but that's right where the road is and right where this dirt track going on the mountain is.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, hopefully, this is one of these things where we're hopefully reaching some people with some local knowledge who might know of something or know of a name or something that could relate to it.
Yeah. But yeah, unfortunately, there's out of all the main stars, that's the one where I would have loved to have found that one.
Yeah, bugs you, does it?
Yeah, big time. But it's not the only thing I haven't found. So, like I said, when I'm doing this work and putting it out there, I mean, it's for other people to have a look at as well and see if they can find things as well.
Cool. Yeah.
So now we've added. Yeah, maybe I should really go to art school.
I like these. I think they're
Yeah.
They're getting more and more ornate as a guy.
Yeah.
I can get more practice. So you got the dog.
Yeah.
And then you got Ghoul of the She-Goat right opposite each other, as they are in the stars as well. So that's what they should be. And they got this relationship with each other. I mean, and up here then we got the sitting gods, which I'm not happy with the orientation I've got it, but I don't know. It's but like I said, the furrow comes down here, and then you got the sitting dog here, and then you got the dog kennel there. So how long have we been so far?
It's definitely time for a little break, I think.
No, I just wondered. I don't think we'll do it in one go.
No. Well, see how long you can. I mean, I'm just going to pop to the loo, and maybe make another tea or something. But we'll take. We can stop recording for a minute, can't we?
Yeah. Are we going again?
We're going.
We're going.
Okay then. So I will mention something before we go any further. Where Gula is right on the edge of the mountain, somewhere around there. On Google Maps, it comes up with the dog stone. And I thought, that figure with Gula with the dog, so my word, this is. So I did a bit of research, and it tends to. I found out that there was a memorial to some local lord who shot his dog Carlo in a hunting accident. So it's a memorial to him. So yeah, get in. So Zababa. There's not a lot of information on Zababa, but he's sometimes thought of as the warrior version of Enlil. Cross this way would be the Blorange, or slightly.
That's what we looked at before, wasn't it?
That was it, yeah. Nippur,
yeah.
So, going by astral science in Mesopotamia, they got the crown. They've got other stars on it, but the crown is where Delta Ophiuchi. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but you got that crown marked by a cane, and then he's represented by an eagle-headed staff. Sometimes it's just a staff on its own. Sometimes he stood with the staff, but he's represented by an eagle-headed staff. And now where this eagle-headed staff would be, which I haven't written down which star is, it's these canes here in the middle. And then you've also got the name called Hen Di Aderin, where Hen is old, ancient, D or T, which is house, and Aderin is bird. So it's the old birdhouse. So this would be this is the eye of Zababa. So the eye of Zababa is here, Hen Di Aderin, and it's the head of the eagle-headed staff.
Awesome.
And you got another cairn there for the crown.
And over there is the crown, yeah. There are quite a few stars of Ophiuchus or Fiki?
Ophiuchus.
Ophiuchus, thank you very much.
That's all right. Because Ophiuchus is shown holding a staff.
Yeah.
And you've got quite a few cairns there, I see, as well. So
it's the whole mountain is covered in cairns. So, like I said, there's not a lot of information on Zababa, but we got the crown and his head.
Mm.
I know where the other parts would be, because they got located which stars are, but there's nothing there,
right?
Which indicates anything. So I put this in there to show this is where the head of the...
I see. There's a wine. Is it wine? Is that how you pronounce wine? Curran?
Oh, Kern.
Kern.
Yeah, and you got Turpen Kern.
Kern. What does Kern translate as?
It's a point, like a pyramid or a point.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'll give you the full definition in a minute. Seeing I got but it's Kern.
Just look like Corin, like crown as well.
Oh, right, yeah. So heap, mound, cone, pyramid, spire, or rick.
Cool. So it could be referring to the fact it's covered in cairns as well, or its natural shape, or
I mean, they are quite big cairns on top there.
Yeah.
So I'm only showing the western half of the Scorpion and Libra. So first of all, up here in a place called Llangatog, in a field just on the edge of the houses, you got a cairn called Carn Coch, which means the red cairn. Antares itself is a red giant, and that's right in the right location. The river comes down here and is on a bit of a floodplain. So they've built it back by the looks of it, not for it to be in the river. So this one, with all the other stuff, this one's out a bit more. Now, this star is also known as the Lissy star. It guards one of the gates to the underworld, which is interesting because the word, you got Mynydd Llangatog and you got Llangatog or Llangatog. There is a church there of Saint Catog. Now, which gives me a problem in a way. Is it named after the saint, or where that cairn is, which would have been there before any of this was here, and the mountain might have been named before the village? Because Gat means gate, and Gat Og would mean gatekeeper.
All right.
But like I said, that gives you a problem. Is it named after the saint, or is the saint named after
it? Yeah, we had this same problem with Cadoc's father.
Yeah,
Winlu.
And Saint
in Pisces, wasn't it?
Yeah, and also Saint Cavu as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which is it Princess Cavu?
I'm not sure.
Is it Gwynthlu's
daughter? Gwynthlu was in the Swallow's Tale, isn't it?
Yeah,
and he's the father of Cadog. I do remember that Hugh Evans was talking about St. Colin as well in his, which seems to have taken his name.
I mean, because they all appear to be real people.
Yes. Yeah.
Which, either at some point somebody has mistakenly thought, well, that's called Gatog, so it's associated with Catog, but it's not. Or they're just not related in any way whatsoever. And it's just a coincidence, but this is the third one now.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? Again, it's like you said before, there could be any number of possibilities.
Yeah.
You don't have to be hard one or the other.
Yeah. No, I can't say definite. All I can say for definite that Antares is where that red cairn is, and it's a red giant. That I can say, yeah. which to me is enough. The name itself is.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So over this way, now corn cows, cows means cheese. Now, there's no constellation of Libra in the Scorpion as such, but his pincers would be where Libra is, and they represent the Libra scales and the balance. So corn cow, so cow with drop in the S means harmoniously or well ordered, which implies some kind of balance. And what's unusual about this, it's smack bang in the middle of the constellation. It's not one of the stars.
Okay.
So you get the star down here, star up there, star there, and the star up there. But in the middle, you've got Carnhouse in the middle. This is the only cane, Carnvach. There's nothing for the other three. But this is in the middle of the constellation. So I don't know if they are saying, well, we're going to put one here because then it's balanced.
It's the balance point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. And then we've got Mynydd Llanganida. Now, in Babylonian terms, serpents are dragons, scorpions, and snakes. Now, Llanganida, now Nider or Nader means snake or serpent. And since scorpion would be classed as a serpent, then this mountain would be the mountain of the serpent.
The mountain of the... Oh.
So where the scorpion would be, the back end, the front end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mental. So so they class scorpions as serpents.
Yeah, and Nader itself means snake or serpent.
Yeah.
And gun or can means before in time. So it could be in the holy serpent or before time, recognizing that this was an old,
an ancient thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it's spelled, I put og, because sometimes, believe it or not, the English phonetic, because when they came and mapped the area, they mapped a lot of this using phonetic English to try and spell the Welsh. Sometimes the sound in the phonetic English can be closer to the Welsh.
Okay.
Could you explain that a bit more?
Right, because if you look at the Welsh, it's Llangat og.
Yeah.
The Welsh, the English, phonetic English is Llangat og. And but if you use the suffix og, which is closer to ok,
that's what gets. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Because if you take the suffix og, for example, and horse in Welsh is one of the words for horse is mach. But then rider or knight would be merchog. You got the og on the end is the person associated with. So gat is gate, and then gatog would be the person associated with the gate.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, is the traditional translation of CADW like of battles or something like that? Battler, with CAD being battle.
Oh, it's a T, cat.
Cat, right? Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. So, no, it's a cat.
Cat.
That's where you got Saint Catog is the T as well, which gives you, because it's basically the same spelling.
Yeah, sure.
So, if somebody could work out if they related or was that just a later church?
Yeah, sure.
And named after that because the area was called Gatog.
Yeah.
Okay, so the stinger up here, which I didn't show on there, there are two mounds up there on, I think it's Tona Aralst. But one of the stars is Shaula. And it basically it's the stinger of the scorpion. So there are 2 mounds up there as well. So I marked that little yellow circles is where I'd be marking the stars. So if you look at them, and then you look at even the Greek version, you can see these constellations are where they should be.
Okay.
It's not like I'm putting the scorpion down here, or Ursa Major over here randomly out of the way. They are where they should be.
Mm-hmm.
That one. Oops. Right, like I said about the furrow, I can't find anything to this. The furrow implies some kind of farming and ploughing.
Yeah.
But I can't find anything really to reference that. So if you go for the main star first of all, which is Spica, which is Alpha Virginis. Now, this is Ponsticle. That's the reservoir there. Now, if the 470 takes up the Brecon that way, well, right there where it should be is a ring cane. And the hill it's on is Bryn Glass.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Spica itself is a blue giant. So it's got a blue color. You've got the hill, Bryn Glass telling you it's blue.
Mm-hmm.
And that's right on target. Now, where I mentioned the dog, the barking dog, and Mu Virginis was the foot. Well, where the mouth would be, on the diagram to the bottom, you got Spica. Oh, let me change the color again. You got Spica there.
Mm-hmm.
You got a star called Portima there. 2 stars going that way, and then 2 stars going that way. Now, on the ground where they are, this is where Portima is, and that is just below the Gurnos, if you're familiar with Merthyr. And it's an area called a graig, which means the stone. So that may be indicating that there's some stone marking that spot.
Mm-hmm.
But then these stars would go off that way and off that way. And then right in the middle of them, here, you have Cyfarthfa Castle. Now, Cyfarthfa Castle is also a farm which is long gone above Cyfarthfa Castle called Cyfarthfa Farm. But then if you look at the meaning of Cyfarthfa, it means a bargain. Now, Portima itself is known as the angle of the barker. So you'd have the angle here and the stars going off.
Yeah, like a right angle sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah. And then the whole constellation looks like an open mouth. It's known as the barker. And right in the middle of where that thing would be is Cyfarthfa, which means a bargain. So you got where the star is, and right in the middle of this mouth, you got a bargain. I mean, that on its own is like...
Yeah.
And then... And then further down, you got the dog's foot, Mu Virginis, and then on the other mountain, you've got the sitting dog, and in between the two, you got the dog house or dog kennel. So, like I said, it's the only thing I could find, and those are the angle of the bark and the bark. I think they're Arabic as well.
Yeah.
So, but I can't find anything for the furrow. So whether this is an actual dog, I don't know.
So what do you mean? So you think it's a...
It's the constellation, actually, the constellation of the dog.
Right, okay,
the barking dog.
The barking dog rather than
the furrow, which contradicts the Babylonian then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or it contradicts the scholarship on the Babylonian.
Right.
Not necessarily the Babylonian.
Now, to add another bit of around, I think it's around by here, there's was marked as a mot, is a mound there called Kai Beirdydd, where beer is a mutation of peer, which means pure, and that's within the constellation of Virgo, the Virgin.
Yeah, yeah.
So now you've got a dog and a virgin, and in the pure place, but nothing to do with the furrow. But the stars are in the right place. And this, like I said, you got Bringlass, where Spicker is, which is a blue giant. And then you got this other part marking the mouth of the dog. So you end up having more questions than...
Yeah, sure. I mean, we just don't know how much these things... like, we have snapshots.
Yeah,
and
that's it, yeah.
We don't know how much these things were evolving over time.
Well,
it's not like they used one until they developed another one, and then used that until they developed it.
Because the Romans, love them or hate them, they would have had an influence.
Oh, absolutely.
The Greeks would have had an influence.
Yeah, the Greeks.
All these different people would have come in, had an influence, and the names could have changed over time.
Yeah.
And the original meanings have been sort of clouded.
Obscured, yeah.
Yeah.
Obfuscated.
Yeah, so that one, it leaves more questions than answers. But at least you know where 2 stars are.
Yeah, excellent.
So the next one is the frond, which is being identified as being in the stars of Coma Berenices. Now, the frond is basically, she got a date palm in her hand.
Yeah, Virgo, she's shown holding it. Yeah.
Like Virgo. But this one, her feet could actually be in the western part of Virgo, but then it contradicts what's on the ground, as in Polymer and the Barker.
Yeah.
So yeah. Now Sarbanita, I've drawn it. So this part here, where it's narrowed again, is her neck, like Marduk. So I put this in neck, and then this would be the head. So if you draw a figure over that, then where a hand would be in the rough location, obviously I put it in the right location, but in the rough location you have this place called Rhyd y Caibran, which is there on the next mountain over. Now Rhyd means forward, opportunity, or good fortune. Cai means shut, close, or enclose, possibly suggesting holding something. And then Bren or Pren means tree or bush, shrub. So it could be suggesting that something is being held, as in a tree or some kind of bush is being held. And if she's holding the date palm in her hand, it could be indicating that.
Yeah.
And on that mountain, there's a common and further south. Now, there's a lot of association with pregnancy and childbirth, and like Coma Berenices. And what's the Egyptian equivalent? And they got she's holding a baby in her lap.
Oh, is it
Isis?
Is it Isis or
no? I can't remember the name, but it's to do with childbirth.
Right. Now,
there are so many canes there, and when I say so many, it's just a mass of them. So I don't know what are they burying infants? Are they burying mothers who died in pregnancy?
Ah, interesting.
Matriarchs. Yeah. Is it mainly for the matriarchs?
Yeah. Well, what's the river to the which boundaries her west side? Is there a river going up through Aberfan and up to Merthyr? Or down, sorry.
This one, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the Taff.
The Taff. And so where did you, which side of her did you enter? You've got the frond on the other side?
Behind you, so on this mountain.
Really? So that's interesting. I was just thinking about, we've got the Tamar in between Devon and Cornwall, which is apparently the same etymology as Thames and and Taff as well, depending on who you read as well.
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
Right.
But of course, Tamar is the name of the date palm in Hebrew.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's something in that.
Well, I'd suggest there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if like you said, if Taff and Tamar
Yeah. Apparently, yeah. Or yeah, and Thames as well.
and Thames, well, you might have a starting point if trying to find a star map near the Tamar.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. I think about this all the time. Every time I see like odd names or like animals or like things like that, I'm like, what does that mean then?
Excuse me. I think I said, yeah. Okay, so adding those in now. So I've added the stars as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see she's got the date palm in her hand there.
Yeah.
So you're slowly building up this picture. With Marduk and Sarpanit, or the Frond, Marduk and Sarpanit, or Sarpanita, are consorts then. They're next to each other. So I've done them both the same, as in with the valley, tops of valley narrows, I put their necks, and then when they widens back up, I put their heads.
Mm-hmm.
In the case of Marduk, which we'll do next time, I'll try and build that picture to show that it makes sense that the neck is there, and it is a neck, and the breast is a bit further down, mainly because there's a field called the breast.
Okay. That'll give it away.
It might give it away, but so we're slowly building up this picture. So no, this is where could be slightly controversial. I've got Leo the Lion not anywhere near Tower Glog, but further north.
Right. Okay. Right. Yeah.
So, right, it's not on you, but Tower Glog is St. Gwyno's Forest. Tower Glog is down there. Regulus, which is Carna Pigon, it would be there.
Mm-hmm.
I can't put it anywhere else, because if I move this down to Tower Glog or Tower Glow, it means everything else is wrong.
Right. Do you want to contextualize the Towan a bit? Tell us a bit more about the history of it. I mean, obviously, a lot of our viewers will know what you're talking about, but for those who don't,
when Wilson and Blackett were working out the star map, they worked out that Tower Glog would be where the Ark of the Covenant is when it was brought here. So they done all these diagrams, like starting through the St. Genyard and showing how they matched what they did out in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And how they lined them up, and they came to Tower Glog as Regulus. But I think that's the only part of it that they haven't got quite right, because I think they stumbled on Cancer, which is also known as the seat of Anu.
Okay.
Now, Anu being the big god, you could even call it the seat of God.
Right, yeah.
So if it's the seat of God, where are you going to put in this Ark of the Covenant, which is the power of God? You put it at the seat of God, not in Leo the Lion.
Right. Okay, I see, yeah.
So, and if you remember, what got me thinking on it was in the Trojan War, I think it's a Trojan War, Wilson and Blackett, they describe, when they translated the copper Etruscan scrolls, they describe how the people followed behind a little cart with a box on it. And he believed that the people followed the way back and they believe that the Ark of the Covenant was in this box. So,
Yeah, I think that's in King Arthur conspiracy. That's what my
is it?
Yeah, because I think they're doing the alphabet trail with that bit.
Right,
Yeah,
right. Well, anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
What I got to thinking is, why are they following behind? So I thought, well, this Ark of the Covenant, which is the power of God, and would they dare, first of all, you've got to think of how the people thought of this. They would have been, one, in great awe of it, and also terrified of it at the same time. So the question then is, would they dare put it in their own constellation?
Right. Okay, I see what you mean.
Because it describes how the people followed behind. They didn't follow in front. They didn't walk alongside, and they didn't travel within.
Mm-hmm.
They traveled behind, showing that they are lesser than God. Then walking in front, it could be a suggestion of we are greater than God.
Yeah.
Walking alongside, we are equal. In the cart, we are God. And did the people
sign of respect, sign of obeisance? Yeah.
So would they have put it in the question is, would they have put it in their own constellation? So the lion stone, for example, then, if Leo the lion is down here, Town of Glog is down there. I don't know if anybody knows, if people don't know, the overlooking Town of Glog is a lion stone. This is a big stone in the field which looks like a lion.
Remarkably so.
Yeah. There might be a small version of that, but I'm not sure. It looks like maybe about 3 feet high, 4 feet long, which looks remarkably similar.
It's this like 3-dimensionality of the limestone as well that's odd, because there's like smaller stones where its back legs would be. It's just it's nuts.
And it's called the Kai Main or field stone.
Yeah.
So you got this stone looking directly at Town of Glog, which I believe is in Cancer, the seat of Anu, or the seat of God, and then that's right in front of Leo the lion. I mean, so you got the lion constellation up here, the Kai Main stone down there, and then say Town of Glog down there.
Right. Okay.
So you got the constellation of Leo the lion with this lion stone in front, looking over the seat of Anu, the seat of God, where the
twin is. Oh.
And when you look at Town of Glog, there are other things which confirm, well, sort of
corroborate.
Corroborate, that's the word, yeah.
Yeah.
Even the shape of the wall.
Oh, the wall, yeah. Well, we're off on a tangent a bit there, so should we see where Leo is? And then,
Right, so Con Pigon, which is here, it just means pyramid, point, pinnacle, whatever, is where Regulus would be. Up here then, up that way, is Gon Las, which is where the nebula is, which is a bluish-white star, and then you got Gon Las, you got the colour.
Yeah.
Now there's a
Glass Lass. Drop the G again, isn't it?
Oh, sorry, yeah. So then you got a Babylonian omen, which states, if a goat gives birth to a lion, the king will exercise world rule and the army of man will have no opponent. Now, if you go through all the names in Leo the Lion, there's nothing to indicate lion.
Right.
But up this area, you have Taran Agava, which means the rocky ridge of the goat, and above it you have Bryn Pika, and Pika means any kind of point, even the point of the horn. So you've got the goat and the tip of the goat of the horns up this area, round the back of the lion. But you got a reference to a goat from a Babylonian omen, but no reference to a lion, apart from the lion stone in front.
Yeah. Interesting. And so is it a lion in the Babylonian star map as well?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it is called the lion, yeah.
But the question then is, because goats do not give birth to lions.
No.
What are they trying to say? Are they saying that the constellation was originally a goat and then became a lion. Because the constellation changed. Sometimes they change and they rename them.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm trying to think of precession as well. When was the age of Leo before the age of Capricorn? That would be the other way around. That would be a lion.
Yeah, Capricorn is almost diametrically opposite Capricorn, isn't it?
I'm trying to think of the ages. What was so? God, quick Google precession.
Where the nebula is, around that area, what was it about to say? In one of the Egyptian texts, it explains that the sun made its first appearance near the nebula, which was 10,000. I can't remember the date offhand. Say 10,500 BC.
Right.
So the sun made its first appearance there by the nebula.
Okay.
So the back end would say be 10,500, and the front end would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Several thousand years. Yeah. Okay. People fuss about when it's entering the constellation and when it's exiting. Yeah.
But obviously, I don't.
Yeah.
I think that it's not the only place I've seen that quote that the sun made its first appearance there.
All right. Okay.
But it can't mean that the sun made its first appearance.
No. It can't. No, not literally.
Because I mean, if the sun didn't exist, then it'd be no life and nobody could witness it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I like the idea that. So, for instance, the king will exercise world rule. The army of the man will have no opponent. So, if they literally put it onto the landscape, look, here is the goat giving birth to the lion. What power does that give their king?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Which is interesting. But then, why pick a goat giving birth to a lion?
Yeah.
That's the confusing bit. And then why there's no sign of the lion? I
haven't found any references to the lion.
Except for the lion stone, obviously.
Except for the lion stone,
yeah. Well, I'm going to be doing a lot of Google Earthing when I after this.
Yeah.
Try and find Vega as well.
Oh yeah, I've gone through it. I mean, it's some of the maps is the gaps missing, so
yeah. I don't think does Wales have full LiDAR coverage yet?
No. Well, it depends which resolution.
Oh right, okay, yeah,
right. Yeah. Some resolutions, I think is not far off. The areas I look at, I think is pretty okay. Like,
yeah, it's getting there. I think everywhere's getting it faster and faster. But
yeah,
I mean, even when I started doing what I was doing with the mining stuff, there were huge areas of Dartmoor just not done, and then within 6 months, it was complete.
Yeah,
down to a meter, I think resolution.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I'm not sure which resolution it's completing, but yeah, it's getting there.
Yeah.
Right.
Hang on.
Well, it was a bit of a bombshell, that one.
All I can say is if somebody said, here's £10,000, go and spend the night underground in Town of Glog, I turn it down.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go anywhere near the place.
Well, I mean,
you'd be chased off by the farmer before you got a chance.
Well,
let's say that.
I wouldn't go there because some of the interpretations I've got is it's protecting something you don't want to be messing about with.
Well, yeah, and absolutely, that lines up with what's said in the Bible.
Yes,
you don't want to go anywhere near the thing,
and not even the Ark of the Covenant.
No, well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, not even. What you think is worse than the Ark of the Covenant?
Well, if the Ark of the Covenant, if it did as worse like it does in the Bible, you're not going to get much worse than that, you.
No, exactly.
Yeah, no would say stay away from it, leave it there. That's my opinion.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think I agree with that too.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The descriptions of it in the Bible is something that you just do not want to mess with.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But anyway, when we do Ishtar and the Lion, I'll go into possible reason why I wouldn't go in there as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Possible reasons.
All right. Correct. Can we at some point have a look at the place names around the globe as well?
Well, that will be part of it.
Oh, that is all in there. Right. Okay.
That will be part of it.
That's in that area. Okay. Great.
Yeah, and it's to do with a protection seal against evil.
Fascinating.
It's for another time if people don't have try and have a look, carry on yeah. So Cancer Turtle, the seat of Anu. Like I said, Anu is the big god, so you could even say it's the seat of God. So you got. Oh, let me change the color again. This star here is Acubens or Alpha Cancri. Now, if you follow up here, you come to places like Treorba, Treorchy, and places like that. This mountain here, there's nothing on modern day maps to show anything, but on old maps, Mynyddo'd Troedyrw, there's a tumulus on it. So whether it's, I don't know, but it's no longer marked on maps, but it's clearly marked on on older maps. So it's the same mountain, so that's the right place. Now, in Richard Ilkley Allen's, he's got this guy, he said, Brown says the ocelli or the asses, with Eta and Theta Cancria and Praesepe, were basically the yoke of the enclosure. Now, they sometimes call it an open cluster, but it's not really an open cluster. It's a couple of stars really close together, which are right in the center of Cancer. Now, the place is called Cefn Gwyn Gil. Now, Gwyn meaning white or holy, and Gil or keel meaning pen or fold.
Okay.
So where those stars are, which it indicates that's the
enclosure.
Yeah. Cool. So you got this central part of Cancer. Now you've got Town of Glog over here. Now glog or clog means a cloak or a covering. Now if that is a turtle or a crab, both are suggested, then that cloak or covering could be indicating a shell of something.
Shell, yeah.
But then, so
I mean, even just as a referring to the ark itself as a covering is interesting. Yeah.
Rather than globe, because even the old maps has got glog or clocker, and I believe it's the right name there.
Cool. Right.
And then, as I mentioned, that my pen's not working now. Try. Oh, the batteries. I'll have to change the nib for next time. Now let's see if I can draw it. Oh no, gone back. Right. No, I can't do it. Try one more time. All right. So around here will be the names when you've got this like a pendant type thing, like to ward off evil. Is some kind of seal, and call it then.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And some of there are two names which on this, let's call it a plaque then. Is it just a diagram? There are two diagrams on there which you can find around the globe. And the reason why you're looking at this particular thing is because Anu had a daughter who was quite demonic, and to protect against her, they got these seals and these protection against demon seals then.
Oh, okay.
Right.
But could you say that again about the images? Sorry, like it represents a.
Right.
I'm not sure I quite followed that bit.
Right. It's just like a clay tablet with line drawings in a way then on it.
Yes.
And those drawings, two of those drawings on it, what they represent, the names are on the ground.
Right. I see. Okay. Right.
And because, what you probably notice as well, not everything is where the stars are, but it's in the constellation of.
Yeah.
is like the stars on the top of the Garth Mountain are in the constellation of Orion, but they're not where the 3 stars of the star map would be.
Oh, okay, right. That's interesting.
But you find that all over. It's like you got the surrounding landscape, which is what this is, and then the stars have been put over the top, and you can't get the landscape and the stars to match.
Right.
So it looks like they're as close as you can possibly get. And
also, do you think it was a way of like almost describing your district?
Yeah, possibly.
And you can be like, well, we are, even though this name is not directly where the star is, I'm still in its area. I'm still within the constellation, and therefore within its bounds, I guess. So therefore it's acceptable. Do you think those 3 cairns are still representative of the belt in some way, even if they're not specifically the belt stars, if that makes sense?
Yes. What's more important, we'd have to go into the Epic of Gilgamesh then, because I think I might be touching, when we get to Orion, I might touch upon it then. But basically, there may be an argument for saying that Orion was never a figure, because they explain about building the walls of Uruk, and they give the dimensions. Now, if you take the 3 stars in the middle, and then you take the 4 main outer stars, and draw a line around them, you got like a rough rectangle, which could be the walls of Uruk. And the 3 stars on the inside are Anu, Ishtar, and Gilgamesh, because that's their abode. So they could be saying these 3 stars are those 3 characters, and the square are the walls of Uruk.
Right, okay.
And then at later some point, then the figure became the figure.
Right, yeah. Fascinating. Sorry if I'm really confusing things any further.
If you take Gilgamesh, for example, he was lord of a ramparted Uruk. Now, Garthan, the suffix an, means ramparted. So you got the ramparted Uruk, you got the 3 stars on the top.
And you're still saying the Garth, though, is still found in where Orion would be if you applied a Ptolemaic zodiac over the top.
Yeah, he's got the, is it his right hand? But he's got the one. It's still within the constellation. It's still within the stars.
Like we were just saying, within its bounds. Yeah,
but it's above.
But it's above. Cool. Well, just to ask one more question about that, just because I know it's something that people love, including myself. Are the belt stars obvious on the star map, on the ground? Sorry, I mean, are they?
No, but the names are representative of.
Okay, right.
There are rounded hills there. So the names are representative of. We like I said,
we'll get to, obviously. Yeah, I'm jumping ahead. I just as it came up.
It's just going to be something I said. When Wilson and Blackett were laying out, and they had to set the part in the top of St. Gennes, and they were drawing the lines through the cairns and going up. And they said Town of Glog is Leo the Lion. Well, those lines go just to the right of Town of Glog and go straight to Carn Pigon. So when I say just to the side, you're talking a couple of 100 yards to the sides of the Glog. So it just went straight up to Carn Pigon.
So they weren't far off then?
Oh, God, no.
No.
There is nothing that they've, like Coma Brencies, they were spot on, for example. I mean, not spot on, they were spot on. Capricorn, when they followed the other ones and they stopped at Tumbalam, if they had carried on, they would have come to Capricorn, but they stopped at Tumbalam.
Right, I see. Okay, yeah.
Because it's a big, important...
Yeah, sure. And they were, so that must be it, because they think, obviously, which is fair enough.
The only thing then, which is nowhere near, was Sirius, which they had Taran Dysant. Because if In astronomy, they're known as things like pointer stars. So you have the two right-hand stars of the plough will point to Polaris, but the belt of Orion will point to Sirius. So that belt goes nowhere near Taran
of course, yeah.
That's the only one which,
but you could see how you would fall in. First, you see something you recognize as the belt, and you think, right, it must go on from that, right? And we found something that lines up with that.
Because the stars on the belt and the stars on the Garth and the stars of the star map, point the same way anyway. So they're not like misaligned from each other. They point the same direction.
Yeah.
And they both point to a terminus for Sirius, which is several miles north of Cowbridge.
I'm I'm looking forward to getting to those. Very, very interested. Are we going to do? Are you willing to do how Sengenith works presentation as well?
That will have to be further down the line.
That's fine. Yeah, no worries.
Right. I mean, if somebody wants to have a go themselves, I mean,
I mean, most of it's in the Ark of the Covenant, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
a lot of it is. You'll have the star map then, so you can say, all right, that's where the Scorpion is. So you can draw a line, say, from Antares and draw it through all the canes, and then go from Regulus and draw all lines through all, not knowing which cane it is, and then at some point they're gonna match up.
Absolutely. So sort of almost back engineer it.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Is that the? Yeah, that's oh right. I haven't got a slide for this. But up here, you got the Greek Hydra, or in Babylon in terms of the serpent. So one of the stars, you got Alphard, which is there. Another one of the stars, it's not a named star. It might be Gamma. I can't remember, but it doesn't really matter. Up here, you got the Raven stands on its tail. Now, the Raven is part of the stars of Corvus, the Greek Corvus. Which are ravens, the Corvus family of birds of ravens, jackdaws, crows.
Crows,
yeah. Well, right here, you've got Penderin, or Pen and a Derin being bird. And I think it's about 4 stars there, which all match up as well. Canes.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
So I know some of this has been a bit controversial, but I tried to put Regulus at Town of Glog, and like I said, nothing works when it's there. And the belt of Orion, if it's on those 3 mounds, it doesn't work there either. So there's something else going on which I believe that some of these hills are a representative of the constellation, but not the actual stars themselves.
Sure.
It may have been that the hills and whatever were all named first, and then the star map was later applied as a best fit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Makes sense, because that's one thing that Hugh Evans comments on, is that a lot of the stars picked for zodiac signs, not necessarily just zodiac, but star maps are not necessarily the biggest or brightest.
Yeah, exactly. Because they leave some out. You think, well,
and they completely leave some out. Yeah, which are big shiny stars sometimes that are nearby, and they just don't use them. Yeah.
On the landscape is in the wrong place.
Sure. So is Cancer a tortoise in?
Well, you can have an argument for a crab and a turtle.
I can see the similarities with a hard-shelled creature. Yeah.
So, basically what I did then, I looked at all the different types of turtles you get out there, and you got like the snapping turtle and green turtles, and then looked at the anatomy of the turtle, find out where his heart is, and look at the shape of the shell above the heart, and then see if you can fit it onto the the wall on Town O'Clock.
Oh, that's why.
Have a go. It's not a perfect fit,
Yeah.
but the one wall is so close. It's, I mean, from that you can't say this 100% is. It might just be a weird shape, weird shape wall, but it's close enough to ask questions.
Sure. Snapping turtle is not a creature you want to mess with either.
A snapping turtle or a green turtle. That part that is above the heart is that shape is what we need to look at.
Fascinating. Do you want to? Are we going to break there, Steve?
Yeah, I think it's. I think that's about halfway, is it?
Yeah. Well,
Right.
on that bombshell.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for doing that, Steve. That was
fantastic.
No worries. We look forward to more of that in the future.
Yeah, and right at the end, like I said, I'm gonna remove the map.
Yeah.
Remove all the constellations and just leave the stars, and then mark the same stars that I've marked on there on one of these.
Yeah.
So, and then remove this, so you'll only have the points of both, and then just see how closely they match.
Yep, I think that's going to be the real. That's going to be the money shot, isn't it? It's
and if they are miles out, then
yeah, sure.
You know it's, but they're not.
No. I think you're right. This is one of these things where you have to get in vast amounts of stuff.
Yeah.
Before and then you start building up a picture, and then you use different evidence. So using the stars like that as well is a much more the most scientific way as well of doing it, I suppose. But yeah, that'll be really interesting to see. I'm looking forward to that reveal.
Yeah. And everything I've shown you so far, I could easily double what's on there.
Yeah, well, you've already shown us some extra bits which you know sort of link in with the star map, and you know planets as well is something that we've not even mentioned today. But I know you've got loads on planets, haven't you? Yeah.
If you plot, unless you got somewhere which is specifically associated with the planet, if you just plot the names of the planets, like I said, Gruner from one before, which is Venus, Brenner. Look for the Gruner names. If you look for, I don't think have I mentioned Caeliog being Mercury, the cockerel?
To me, you have, but
right,
not publicly. Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah.
What we got me onto Caeliog being the cockerel, the exaltation or the secret place of Mercury, is up here somewhere. Right where it is a town called Town of Caeliog. I know. But if you plot them, the names that you can associate with planets, there's practically nothing in the middle. It's all around the zodiac. Obviously, just slightly either side, because the planets don't fully travel within the zodiac. They travel on the edges. No, the 12 zodiacs and the 24 others on the edges of them. So
yeah.
They all go in a circle.
Okay. And you've already linked with us a few of them where you've shown various Babylonian and Sumerian what's the word I'm looking for? Is it astrology, essentially, where they're saying if you find the planet here, then it means this.
Oh, yeah, the omens,
and you've got the planet name, it's in that place, and you've got you've got another place name that means the
Was it Abydos and Protas, isn't it? Is an if that like IT is like an if that if X, Y, and Z occurs, then you go and see or pray to the stars, and then because it's not written in stones. Well, it is written in stone, but you got to if then, and then you can have some kind of prayer or some kind of ritual to stop that occurring. So they're not. You got no choice. Like it's not written in the stones or in the stars that this will happen. You got a chance to change it then.
Fascinating. Brilliant.
Well, I hope people are interested and enjoying it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they are.
Yeah,
I'm sure
indeed.
they are.
Yeah, it's gone down well on the channel.
But
Right, should we leave it there?
Yeah, leave it there. Yeah,
Great. Cheers. Thanks a lot, Steve.
no worries.
Right.